afternoon, which in itself is a kind of silly thing, because Tuesday isn't the beginning of the week or the middle, but on this particular Tuesday, something magical was happening. In Grandma Maria's kitchen, it was caramel flan day. This wasn't just any flan, it was the flan, a flan so golden it looked like it was made from sunbeams, so shiny that the reflection of the light bulb danced on its caramel sauce. It wiggled just a little when you got close, as if it were giggling and saying, "I bet you want to eat me, Leo." A 7-year-old boy with permanently scraped knees and hair that never obeyed a comb was sitting on the kitchen floor, mesmerized. Beside him, snoring softly, was Rolly, his dog. Rolly was a basset hound, which means he was long, short, with ears so long that he sometimes tripped on them. And he had the saddest looking eyes in the world, even when he was happy. And in that moment, with the smell of caramel in the air, Rolly was very, very happy in his dream. Grandma Maria, in her sunflower apron, took the flan out of its mold with a master's touch. The flan slid onto the plate and made a funny little sound. Plop! She carefully placed it on the kitchen windowsill, so the cool afternoon breeze would bring it to the perfect temperature. "Leo, sweetie," Grandma said in her voice that was as warm as a hug, only after dinner. "You hear? Let the flan cool down in peace." "Yes, Grandma," Leo said, but his eyes said, "I will protect this flan with my life." Leo went to his room for war. Perhaps 5 minutes. He needed to build the 3rd floor of his building block tower, which was going to be a castle for dinosaur astronauts. It was very important work, but as he snapped a red block onto a blue one, he felt that something was wrong. A strange silence coming from the kitchen, a flan-less silence. He ran back. He stopped at the kitchen door, his heart beating fast. He looked at the window and nothing. The plate was there, but the flan was gone. Vanished, evaporated. In the place where that golden marble once rested, there was only a small, sticky, lonely smudge of caramel. Elliot Cuno put his hands on his head. It's not possible. A crime, a dessert crime. He knew that such a serious case required the best detective in the world. He ran to the living room, where Rolly was still sleeping, now on his back with his paws in the air. "Wake up, detective! We have a case!" Rolly opened one eye, then the other, and let out a yawn so big his mouth looked like a tunnel. Leo wasted no time. He grabbed a toy bow tie that came with a doll and fastened it, a bit crooked, around Rolly's neck. There, Detective Rolly is on the case. The first stop was the scene of the crime. Leo pointed to the caramel smudge. "Look, detective, analyze the evidence." Rolly, smelling the sweet scent, didn't think twice and gave the caramel smudge a loud lick. Then he looked at Leo with his sad eyes, as if to say, "Is there more?" Leo was amazed. Incredible! What a keen sense of smell! The detective has already found the first clue. The thief has a sweet tooth. And wait, what's this? Leo knelt and saw, right next to the puddle of Rolly's drool, a tiny, almost invisible paw print. And then another one, a trail. The criminal left a trail. "Follow me, Detective Rolly. The hunt has begun." Leo started crawling through the yard, following the mysterious prints. Rolly couldn't care less about the paw prints. He was following a much more interesting smell of ants on the ground. But since he was walking right behind Leo, it looked like they were on the same mission. And every time Rolly stopped to sniff a bush, Leo would whisper, "Quiet, he senses the suspect's presence." What a genius! The trail led them to the middle of Grandma's garden, stopping right in front of Frederico. The garden gnome, Frederico, had a white beard, a pointy red hat, and was holding a fishing rod. And to Leo's astonishment, there was a tiny drop of caramel sauce right on the tip of his hat. Leo stood up and crossed his arms. He stared down the garden gnome with his most serious look. Frederico, there's no use lying. We found the evidence. On your head. Where's the flan? Confess. The garden gnome, of course, said nothing. He just kept smiling his painted smile. Detective Rolly approached Frederico, sniffed his boot, and started to lift his leg. No, detective, we can't do that. To a suspect, Leo shouted. After a moment of thought, Leo concluded, you're innocent, Frederico. You couldn't have climbed up to the window. The caramel must have flown through the air and landed on you. You're merely a witness. The trail of paw prints continued past the garden gnome and towards the fence that separated their house from the neighbors. And there, sitting right on top of the fence, was Sparky, the neighbor's cat. Sparky was a sleek, black cat with very clever green eyes. He was calmly licking one of his paws, with an air of someone who knows all the secrets of the universe. Aha, Leo exclaimed. So it was you, Sparky, the speedy thief. It all makes sense. You're fast, you're silent, and you can climb anywhere. Surrender in the name of Grandma's Flan Law. Sparky stopped licking himself. He looked at Leo, then at the dog with the crooked bow tie, and meowed, a meow that sounded like a little laugh. Then, as fast as a lightning bolt, he jumped off the fence and disappeared into the neighboring yard. But in his haste, something fell from his collar and shimmered in the grass. Elliot Cute ran to the spot. It was a bottle cap, dented and shiny. A bottle cap? What does this mean? Detective Rolly came over, sniffed the cap, and pushed it with his nose, bored. Leo had a revelation, I know. Sparky collects shiny things. He didn't want the flan. He wanted Grandma's shiny glass dish. He must have tried to grab the dish, got scared, and knocked the flan somewhere. But where at that exact moment? Grandma Maria's voice called from the kitchen. Leo, my dear, you won't believe this. Leo and Detective Rolly ran back inside. Grandma Maria was laughing, pointing to a corner near the pantry. There, behind a sack of potatoes, was the flan. It wasn't perfect. One of its sides was a little squished, but it was whole. The caramel had made a small puddle on the floor, but most of it was still there. Glorious. It must have slipped from the window and landed right back here, said Grandma. The plate didn't even break. What a lucky flan. The mystery was solved. There was no thief at all. The flan had simply slipped. Sparky probably just climbed onto the windowsill to investigate the noise. Leo picked up Detective Rolly. Detective, you're the best. Your brilliant investigation led us all over the yard, giving Grandma enough time to find the hidden flan. Case closed. Rolly responded with a lick on the tip of Leo's nose. That evening, everyone ate the slightly squished flan, and they all agreed it was the most delicious and bravest flan in the world. Detective Rolly, for his extraordinary services, got an extra slice, which disappeared into his mouth in less than a second after dinner. He curled up in his little bed, the bow tie still crooked around his neck, and slept the sleep of heroes, with a full belly and snoring softly. He dreamed of his next great mystery, the case of the sausage that disappeared from the refrigerator. But that is another story.